Waka Waka. Uh, you know what? I know what we're gonna do. We're gonna plug this in here. Oh fuck, it's a spider. Oh my god. No way. I killed it. Sorry. Let's run through the rain. Oh my god. What the fuck was that? I don't even know. Oh my god, no way. Oh my god. It's fucking raining. Look at all these cars. Top of the morning to you, laddies. It's me, Jacksepticeye, and I'm out here in the rain and there are cars. It's cold as fuck. And I'm going to a place where there's more light so that I can sit. And we're just gonna hang out. If I had a second phone, I'd start doing political streams. Because I'm tired of seeing these bitch ass Nazi haters. There's a light on? That's a bit concerning. Oh yeah. Oh my god. Okay. I have no new information, but I'm cold and I'm bored, so I'm gonna hang out and see who pops in the chat. Donald Trump, Donald Trump, Donald Trump. It's all I see now, scrolling, is just political streams. My algorithm is fucked. All I hear are Hassan clones talking shit, and I try to call into their thing and they won't let me in. I'm like, I have so much important information for you. God commands it. Let me in your stream. And then he gets some 14-year-old and they do some beta male bitching at each other. The guy fucking... I watched the stream for 15 minutes. The guy had 2,000 viewers. And I was like, bro, my great-grandfather was a 33rd degree Mason. My dad grew up with one of the elite families. I grew up with one of the elite families. I have so much to tell you about what's real, what politics really is. God is commanding me, and I'm seeing, like, I'm at a church, the light of God. I'm like, God is commanding me to tell you about this. And I left him a message, and the guy saw my message, and he went back to bitching with a 14-year-old about Mexicans. And I was like, what? Have you fallen this far from grace? Let me in. So finally I was like, I'm sorry, bro. Take care. I'm not going to sit here and listen to this. And the guy saw it, and I saw him, like, freeze, and then he went back to just regurgitating Hassan shit. Casey's the king. I don't know what else to tell you, man. Hassan's dog's name is Kai. And he's shocking the dog every time the dog tries to find freedom. It's literally it's just the same shit over and over again. Taurus and Saturn in the first house. The dog is stuck in place. And when it tries to leave, it gets shocked. And now the guy who's doing it is getting punished. Justice. It's just anywhere I go on the internet, I can't escape it. I literally can't escape it. I cannot escape the fact that I'm in a fucking simulation, but it's okay. Did I bring my vape? Yeah, I did, man. I need it. Ugh, I'm gonna puke. Actually, I don't need it. I don't even want it, actually. But I'm trying to get it down. I like it at nighttime. That's it. When I'm trying to sing now, and I go, hey, I literally fucking puke. But you know what? It's better than how I felt on cigarettes where my whole body hurt. But who's with me, man? Don't you love converting pain into beauty? Isn't it amazing? It's amazing. I'm out here charging my devices. I set up the new tent. I've been cleaning. Things are going well. I like the trash because it's like my rings of Saturn. I like that garbage mountain behind me. It orbits and the mice keep me company at night. It's pretty cool. What am I called to say? Oh shit. Oh shit. Okay, I just gotta download to make an ebook and sell it. Look at that. Whoa. But I'm like, you could just get it from AI. That's where I'm at. But I guess maybe people would be more willing to donate and support the channel instead of doing their own research. And it kind of feels like it's what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to be making my music. There's a fucking worm. Is this a parasite? Do you guys know what the fuck this is? What is this? What is it? So I'm just hanging out. We're seeing who pops in. We're gonna see. I want my haters to come back. I like that content. But I need to schizo rant. But I've said a lot of the same thing. Oh shit, where am I at now? Okay, we can talk about the Woodbury. So today, in my simulation, I got a note when I get these notifications. I don't know who's giving me the notifications. I don't know what's on the other side taking these videos and bringing them to me so I can watch it. But oh, later, they fucking left. Woodbury Village. So I got a recommendation from a guy named Queso. And he was playing this game called Fears to Fathom, Woodbury Getaway. And I was like, I live near Woodbury. So I watched it, and it's about this people that live in an inner city. The guy named Mike is a creep, and he's in love with this girl, and they're going on this weekend getaway. And then the company, the girl's friend that was supposed to go with them, because they're old, long-time friends, they're supposed to go to Woodbury for this weekend getaway, and they get there. And they kind of did the Vermonter justice. Like, they got the height right. He looked like my old foster dad. They got that right. But there was this thing on the way to that, where the game starts. On the journey to there, about an hour out, they're just driving through Vermont. And a deer goes in the road, right to left. And the guy, the NPC, looks at the character and is like, that's the Native American sending us a message. As they're talking about converting a school bus. And then she looks down at her phone and she gives them the directions about how far they are to Woodbury Village. And I was like, okay, you got the deer right to left in this video game 2 years ago that a guy named Queso was playing. You know what I'm saying? And they get Native American deer, and then they look down at the phone and they're like, we're exactly this distance from Woodbury. And I'm like, I know this is God. So I look at my own phone and I type in where they're going, and I'm the exact same distance from there. So I mean, we had the school bus converted into a tiny camper right on the right side, right to left as the deer goes by, and then the NPC looks at the camera and goes, that's the Native American sending us a message. The universe is sending us a message the Native Americans believed. And then they get to this place, and they don't do Vermont justice. Because in the game, they have billboards and they have businesses that aren't real. And I was like, you could have at least Googled Vermont when you were making the game. But either way, Queso is playing a game about Vermont. When the deer goes right to left in the game made years ago, and then the NPC goes, the universe is sending us a message according to the Native Americans. And he pauses and stares at the camera. And then they look at the phone and see the directions to the place, how far away they are. And I'm like, I know it's the universe sending me a message through the game years later. And it's Queso playing. So I look and I'm the same exact distance to the destination in the game. Exactly the same distance. So the obvious sign there is that the school bus conversion tiny home. Is that a fucking newt? No, it's a slug. Fuck that slug. Fuck it! Then, fuck the slug. Fuck the slug. Fuck the slug. So, the game is about this rich guy that owns a townhouse, and he's renting it out Airbnb, and the guy is living in the basement, and they're creeped out by him because he keeps showing up and they think he's coming into the house. But anyone with common sense is like, you can't live in Vermont and have a separate property in Airbnb. That guy's hiding in his car to get money. I knew he was in the basement. But the point is that a homeless junkie is slamming on the door, angry that the tourists were mean to him. That's the enemy in the game, is an angry homeless guy, mad at the colonizers. But that was cool, just another piece of like the universe forces me to live in this inescapable truth about reality, no matter what I do. Anything I watch on the internet, anything I do in my day-to-day, I'm literally just asking the universe for things, or God, and they just show up. And it's, even if I don't want it, it's like I want to escape into a guy playing video games, and then the video game is talking to me with obvious stuff I can't escape, which ties into a story I seem to be cast in. And I did ask God a long time ago to make me the main character of the best story in the universe. So I kind of got what I signed up for. And then I asked him to make me a badass because I wanted to be real. And so I can't hate that my life has been horrible suffering for a long time. Because I'm really proud of how far I've come. True story. I think Hassan is a bitch. I think Asmongold is a bitch. I think Joe Rogan is gay. I think Kill Tony sucks. I think Extra Emily is an insectoid. I think that Cinna is an ancient fish person. I think that Your Rage is also an ancient fish person, and that's why their clips are blowing up together, as we're finding out about Atlantis and that the Africans believed. You alright tonight? Yeah. I'm fine. It's just cold. It was snowing today. It's gonna snow tonight. It's gonna snow tomorrow. But I got some money for laundry, thanks to Heather. Everybody shout out Heather. I got some laundry money, so I'm gonna wash my moldy blankets and get that. They keep, random strangers on the internet keep wanting me to get this dog, and then I'm asking, like, I'll be like, what should I do? And then I'll feel pressure on the side of my head, and I'll see the dog, and then I'll look on my phone and the dog is there. So I'm like, I guess I'm getting a dog, but I don't know. I'm just hanging out. I don't know if I should get food. I got a plug that will give me McDonald's anytime I ask for it, which is cool because when I build a positive relationship like that, the people possessed by the demonic force get really upset. So now that I have an in at McDonald's of a nice guy that's willing to give me some free food, everyone in the McDonald's, when they see me, they're just head down. Yeah, I'm like, hey man, I bought a water. Can I grab the cup? And he's like, yeah, you can grab the cup. And I felt like this huge energetic hit. And I was like, whatever. And then everyone went, because we're in a literal spiritual war. But it is what it is. I don't practice semen retention. I really should. So I'm going to start today. Hey. I'm trying. I'm just charging my stuff. I saved up and I bought a Anker power station. Which sucks because it's like, isn't it like as soon as you're in a relationship, the girl you really want pops out of nowhere? It's like as soon as I saved up and I bought this power station I've been trying to buy for a year, suddenly there's an amazing deal on Marketplace for something worth $500, but he's selling it for $100. And I spent $100 on this power station, and I'm like, fuck man, so now I'm scrambling to find. I asked this horse farm if I could work for them. They needed work and they won't answer me. And I'm like, why are you dangling these carrots on sticks all the time? Why are you dangling these carrots on sticks for me? So I chase them and then it doesn't work out. And then as I'm suffering, then I get rewarded with something else. What the fuck is the point? Joe Biden. What about Joe Biden and the ice cream? Maggot? What's going on? Hold on. Oh shit. I want to reiterate, politics aren't real. Somebody needs to hear it. Politics aren't real. It's an ancient Satanist cult. They've left messages to each other before internet in books, and you can find those books where they have the encoded messages about what's to come in the future. And that's why we have Barron Trump, the last president, about his mentor Don. That was the 33rd degree Mason who was Nikola Tesla's neighbor. Supposedly Nikola Tesla figured out how to escape into a realm outside of time and communicate with aliens, and he relayed that information through his neighbor, the 33rd degree Mason, and they published Barron Trump, the last president. They were encoding messages for a long time, and that's why all creation is divine. When you tap into creation, you will start to meet your higher self and find grace, and it will lead you to perfection. All you have to do, honestly, is just go on walks. Start, like, even now, just thinking about walks, I want to puke up all this shit. The universe is trying to heal me in real time. Yeah. not today that I know of. But if you look back at my content, I talk about when I get into this flow state, I just start to say shit. And then the couple weeks later, that shit that I say hits the mainstream. So I was talking about, I had this dream, maybe it was yesterday, about how I had to banish an evil narcissist in my life. And then I looked up at the clouds, and the clouds were spaceships pretending to be clouds. And then I looked for, when I noticed what they were, they showed their true colors. It was these like really rudimentary, like Rick and Morty looking rust bucket type ships. And I could tell they were like ancient Nazi, but also there's no such thing as separate governments. It's all the same BlackRock, Saturn worshipping ancient organization. So it was just like the human made thing. And they were about to go to battle against the aliens. And I felt like kind of like this sense of like unity, like the whole world was like going to unite against these aliens. I was like, oh shit, we're all getting together. We're going to have this thing and we're going for it. But then the aliens just took me up. And it wasn't like I was floated out like another dream I had, which might not have been a dream, where I was literally abducted like a month ago. Where I felt like a bear was going to rip at my neck and whip me around the tent, and then aliens picked me up in like the movie Hereditary, hovered me out of the cabin, and then when I saw the sky, I woke back up hours later. And then literally like 3 days later, there was a massive fucking bear outside the cabin, the first time I'd ever seen a bear that close, and it was the biggest bear I'd ever seen in my life. But separate from that dream, in this dream, they didn't beam me up. It was just like a vortex opened and suddenly I was there. Wow, and I'm there. And I'm floating in space, and there's this giant, massive, it looks like a giant computer chip, but it's also like how you would imagine a futuristic city. And it was either made completely of gold, or gold was their color of choice, or it chose to be gold and have these neon purple liquids in these giant skyscraper tubes, like these giant skyscraper buildings with neon liquid inside of it. And I'm not sure if that was the aliens, because they operate outside of space and time, so in order to incorporate mass, they don't need bodies like they would use robots or like biologically created things. Really, they just live in the water, because it's just, they're like plasma beings, so their entire like hive mind alien intelligence is in that. That kind of makes sense. It didn't look really residential, but how would you imagine a residential spaceship to look? Like Miami? I don't know, but I know I saw this giant floating thing which looked like a giant computer chip with a bunch of this fluid in it, and I saw that it was way more complex than I could comprehend at the time. I can sort of, like, I could see it for what it is, but I couldn't, like, maybe I could recreate it. I don't think I could, like, get in and start coding, but I could probably imagine it, and the universe would do the work for me, sort of like prompting its creation with 33 manifestation energy. But basically I saw that we're no match for whatever that thing is. Whatever it is, we're not going to be able to fight it with Rick and Morty rust bucket spaceships that crashed in Roswell that we see. We're just not. It's just not the case. We would never be able to fight no space laser could hit it. The only thing we could ever do is, like, if they love us a lot, mass sacrifice us as a fuck you. Or if they were trying to harvest us, just nuke us. If they were trying to enslave us, nuke the entire population, just to be like, you're not getting us. Fuck you. But the point is after I had that dream about the spaceship, the next day I woke up, and I'm not paying attention to Atlas. People say it a lot, and I'm like, I think about it. But the next day, yesterday, I woke up and they said Atlas is here. It's up there. It's here. But when I was talking about how when I spew this shit out, I start to say things, and the things, like, I was going into it, like, it just kind of hits me like this, and it kind of digs in, and I can clear sentience, or I don't know. I don't know what it is. But I was trying to say that Revelations and the rapture, I was trying to describe, like, how would beings outside of space and time that didn't want to affect the timeline and accidentally set off trajectory by giving people information they weren't ready for, how would they describe this high level complex things to people 2,000 years ago? So I was like, what is the trumpet sound? And I was like, it's actually, when you think about the Capricorn society based around Saturnian worship and Capricorn and the Dark Empire and spreading influence through connecting us through contracts, birth certificates, taking the foreskin, generative principle stuff to completely bind us to this higher level of intelligence that they're all sort of, by worshiping, they're just sending as much energy to the thing as they can to grow it, and they're growing Capricorn through the Saturnian society, and that's why we have like the obelisks and the Masonic stuff. How they would stop that influence of Satan would be through that righteous truth, that age of Aquarius, that high frequency, which could be like a space laser, or it would be heating the planet up so that low vibrational frequency would just vibrate out, so we couldn't live in that anymore on Earth. We'd go to the kingdom of heaven, which is the higher vibrational life, and then the people that are stuck will be cast into the lake of fire, or the burning waters, Yellowstone volcanic eruption. Or you could say like they all kind of coagulate and melt into the singularity when they get connected to AI, pure creation, but not of God. So sort of like the movie The 100, where the people that got left behind assimilated into an AI and projected their consciousness into a pocket realm that's being kept alive by this like bunch of computers in a bunker. That type of stuff. But what I said is that if the age of Aquarius and what the aliens would bring, the space laser, the revelations, the kingdom of God, whatever, would be sort of like if there's a, oh, what the fuck are you? Hello. We have a visitor. Right to left. Motherfucker. There's a rat! Okay, Stuart Little made an appearance. And there's a slug slowly coming towards me. Flick, 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 get the fuck out of here. Slug, 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 slug. Hey. Oh, it would be, so basically they have this black rock and they have Trump Tower, Mecca. They have these things that are constantly producing frequencies, harvesting the earth to keep us in this realm. And then in that energy, they can do these connection rituals to get us as children so that we don't realize that we're possessed. We don't know any better. We don't know any different. We have no idea, and we're being programmed while they're feeding us this garbage to destroy our gut microbiome, to prevent us from connecting to nature and connecting to higher levels. We literally, the game is rigged. And we didn't have any information like that. And the government was taking great care, the Saturnian government was taking great care to destroy any culture that would oppose their agenda, that agenda of keeping us in the dark empire, keeping the darkness in us, programming us to only be able to function in society aligned and converted to that black sun energy. So what the age of Aquarius or 3-eye Atlas or whatever they're going to do would be this giant reverse obelisk. Bam! Hits the thing. The trumpet. The righteous truth. Hitting all of us in a way that's inescapable and unavoidable. Like I can't open my phone without the universe going, Queso uploaded a video, and then a buck in the video game he's playing, a buck goes right to left as they're talking about converting a bus into a tiny home in Vermont. And then they look on their phone and they're like, we're this distance away from our destination in Vermont. And then I look on my phone and I'm the exact same distance. It was in the game, they're literally next to me. But that game came out years ago and Queso played it last year. But it's Queso playing it. You know what I'm saying? I can't, that's like the overwhelming truth. They're going to keep hammering it in. And that's our calling to rise and accept it into our hearts so that we can go to the good place. But you have to keep aligning yourself, keep sort of not transmuting, transcendental, transcending maybe is the right word, ascending, which isn't like, it's part of it is like rising up to the light, but that's just repentance in the Sundance ritual. It's just holding the connection to the highest. It's also like completely all is mind. So completely changing the way you live, because all is mind. It's changing the entire universe that you live in, because we're on private Minecraft servers connected by a technocratic apocalypse. What's the right word? We're in our own personal servers and we're connected by some type of technology, like a simulated thing. Like that's the flower of life. When the oldest symbol in the world's history is the flower of life, is that Venn diagram of a bunch of different circles. That's all of our different Minecraft servers, and how through relationships they intersect and interweave into this perfect, as above so below, expanding network of Venn diagrams. And that's all of us. And that's why, what's that song, I think it's from Kanye and Bon Iver, where it's like, maybe we're just cells in the body of Christ. That's all it is. When you're alone, you're literally alone in the universe. And the universe is completely conscious. When I leave, there's no way of telling that when I end this live, or if I were to meet you in person, and we interact, and then I leave, and you leave, there's no way to tell if the next time we intersect, if that's really the same people. And I mean, science will tell you it's not. All of our cells have changed, our ideas have changed, our character has changed. It's literally not the same people. And I mean, I had stuff like after my brother died, I kept seeing him, his ghost, his spirit, talking to me, standing outside the cabin, trying to communicate with me. And then one day he stopped. He left, and I never saw him. And then I got a note when I was like really bummed out because I felt his energy was gone, and he was gone. Bing! My phone, tarot video, a message from your dead brother. So I look at it and it says, your brother chose to reincarnate. So you don't feel him anymore because he chose to come back to Earth. You will never meet him again in this life. You will never cross paths with him. You'll never know who he is or where he is. You're not supposed to. But souls are much greater than you think. Part of him is still alive and is still around. You will meet him in other people, and you'll meet him very soon. And then I went to a gas station, and then there was a random kid from my hometown. He was in the same friend group as my brother. I'd met all of that guy's friends in the past. Randomly, those kids would do acid, and they would be outside my apartment freaking out. And my little brother was living on my couch, and he would cook food all day. He was trying to perfect the perfect steak. So like, he was cooking steak all day, and I was just trying to steak. It was delicious. Best steak I've ever had. And he was using an air fryer for it. And just different seasonings I'd buy with my food stamps. And I remember we invited all of that guy's friends. The only one that was missing from the friend group was this guy that I met here, hundreds of miles away. And he was at the gas station I was trying to work at. The only place in town that I go to, because they're nice to me. He was working. He was a Leo. But when I went in, spiritually, as soon as he spoke, I felt the same resonant energy from my now gone brother. So I decided to hang out with him. He was a guitar player, so I had a friend that played guitar. And I noticed that the only thing I could think of was like regurgitating karma. Like, it wasn't me speaking to this stranger, it was like all the people in my journey for the past like 5 years. Everywhere I went when I was lost and homeless and needed help, all the strangers that came to me, all the things they were trying to tell me, this guy sort of at his point in his life was embodying, and he needed to hear the things that I had to say, and I learned those things from those people. So I didn't, like, only like very sparingly did like myself come through. It was just like I was able, karma, I forgot the right word for it, but part of the laws of karma is that when you meet people, let's say when you're 20, when you meet people, the way you interact with those people, the way the story goes in that relationship, how that went, afterwards you become the people that were there for you, and you deal with yourself. So people come to you where you were at, and you learn the lesson the hard way. That's part of karma, is that you're going to deal with who you were. So I had to deal with who I was, and I just swayed the karma, and then I know that those moments, as an Ascended Master, Polar Bear 1133, is that when and Eagle, whatever, War Bonnet, when the people come. I mean, the first time I talked to him, we started talking about Native Americans, and then we heard a skinwalker in the woods, and when we were about to talk about it, because what you say in Appalachia is you're not supposed to talk about what you see here, because it kind of allows it in from the other realm. We started talking about it, and we heard something screaming from the woods that we can't describe, and we've never heard it before, and we've never heard it again. It sounded like a group of 3, 4, or 5 different animals and people pushed together and screaming all at once, like this disgusting writhing of different voices of creatures this thing probably ate or killed. But I know that I'm taking souls from one stage to the next. That's part of like this one-on-one sort of thing, is like wherever you are in life, at the end of this journey, you're going to the next stage of your life. And that's either like a 3-second sentence, I say, up to like a 3-month-long relationship or friendship, whatever. When I say relationship, I don't mean intimate, just a relationship. But souls, I'm taking them from one stage of their life to the next, and it's going to be karmic, but I'm there for them, and I meet them where they're at, and the things I say, the universe, I have the things they need to hear. So I helped this guy sort of validate his spiritual stuff, because he was younger and he was spiritual, but there were things that I knew that he didn't. And it was like this guy as a Leo and from my hometown, it was like I get the people that I missed that are no longer either alive or they're just so far gone. I told you my hometown's gone. They're done. It's hard, like the dreams I have, I'm only allowed in if I'm fighting a war. Like I'm getting in there and I'm killing people because they're too far gone. All the dreams I have with my hometown now, like last year I had a dream where I wasn't allowed to go back. I was literally like, I had all these weights on me. The point is, if you were to scroll away, is that all the people I missed, he embodied. The same things I missed about them, the way they spoke, the style of their character, the way they saw the world, the things that they created, the fruits they produced. It was everyone that I missed, so I got to see them, knowing I can't see them ever again. So, but the dreams were, I had all these shackles and weights, I had all this stuff on me, and I was like trudging through, trying to get out of the woods, and when I finally got to the tree line, I looked through, because I'm on a mountaintop, I looked over the mountains, and I saw my hometown hundreds of miles away in those mountains, and it was cast in darkness, completely. Like the Mind Flayer had just completely taken over, and everyone in it loved it. They didn't want to change. Even if they wanted to change, they couldn't. And I was like, I need to go. And I'm like, I have all these weights, and I'm like, I need to. And then a literal fucking Lyran or Jesus, Yahweh, whatever, it was a humanoid lion head, human body, but with fur, in white robes with these golden inlays. This like pattern on the robes, and he didn't say anything, he just reassured me. And he turned me around and pointed me at the cabin. And he was like, imagine how cool it would be if you did this. And I saw it all cleaned. I saw structures built. I saw it being a cool place for people to hang out. And the message was what I always keep telling myself. You can go back through my channel and I just say it over and over again. Being there for myself and leading by example, rather than continuously killing myself for other people that don't give a fuck about me. I literally can't stop. It's like a compulsion in my life. Is like I'm like, my mind instantly goes when I start creating, and I've gotten better at it, being allowed to be selfish. But last year, especially before this journey of like torture, when I was still fighting, all I was ever doing was just finding the perfect way to help everybody selflessly. And it wasn't like I wanted to do it. It was like I couldn't stop doing it. I couldn't stop thinking about everybody and holding them like extensions of myself, feeling all their torture and traumas and troubles and finding solutions and trying to give them these solutions just to have them spit it back in my face and be these disgusting pieces of shit. And I keep having this message over and over again, like, focus on yourself. And like, I think God literally gave me that sanctuary just so I would learn to wake up and rake instead of trying to compartmentalize and philosophize and create things that help people. It was my time to learn, like, just sit the fuck down, sit there, stop running, just fucking sit there. I got suddenly sick, like so sick I couldn't move living out. I thought I had Lyme's disease. I really did have like tons of ticks on my back. And I thought I had Lyme's disease because I couldn't move and I'd have sleep paralysis. And the whole point was learning how to focus on myself. Self-care, self-love. I feel ashamed that I couldn't be there for my brother, and now he's dead, my little brother. I was fighting for him, even though he was a guy who loved to be an energy vampire. He would literally like sit there schizophrenically and ask me, like, he wanted to trade souls. He wanted my life. He would run up to me, and I mean, he was a Sagittarius, Taurus, moon. I really think, because there was this thing, like, I would be sitting by myself and freestyling all day in my apartment, just over and over again, and I had songs like critically acclaimed, On My Way to Greatness, God Called and Told Me I'm Gonna Be Famous, so I don't do fake shit. And I would just be going over and over again, but in my mind, I wouldn't say it out loud, but then he would run up to me, and he would scare me, like I'd be walking down the street, and he'd run up to me and go, ah! And then he'd go, critically acclaimed, On My Way, and he'd start taking it from me, and then when I felt like he had absorbed me, he would fucking run away. He would do shit like that, like I'd invite him into my house, and we'd make music, and he would just nitpick and judge the whole time. I would be playing video games and he would sit near me and try to do this stupid intimidation shit to scare me. And then I had a dream that he was going to die from it. I had a dream that God was killing him for what he did to me. And then he died a month later. But I still feel bad about it. I still feel responsible for failing as a leader. Because I feel like if I'm able to achieve this state of competency like I could before, where I'm just so much farther beyond normal people, and I create at such a high level, and the things I say help people naturally, which is like the brain I have from the circumstances I endured, having to fight my way through a neglectful childhood with parents that make you walk on eggshells, to having to fight to get out of government custody, because if I didn't fight out of government custody, I would have been there my whole childhood. So in order to have a high school life, I had to cold call foster homes. I had to bother my youth development worker. I had to bother DCF. I had to stand up in the courtroom. I was standing up and talking to the judge and trying to convince the judge that, yeah, my mom is not functioning and she's a narcissist and she's trapped and she's like a terrible person to be around. And I shouldn't be living with her. I should be in DCF custody. But I'm telling you that there's no foster homes, and that I'm able to parent my mother and parent myself. Let me have this pseudo-emancipation and just deal with my mom. That way I can get out and still have crushes on girls. And if I touch them, like if we held hands, I wouldn't get locked in solitary. In these institutions, if you were caught touching each other, you were locked, and it's called a care plan. You're 2 weeks in your cell. For 2 weeks, just alone by yourself. Punished for kissing a girl. And I did. I would kiss girls. The staff would be coming, and we would move around them for a kiss. Or, like, slap her butt on the way up the stairs. And then she'd turn around and be like, you're bad in all the best ways. And I couldn't emote. I couldn't do anything because I didn't want to tell them. I took my friend's shark tooth necklace, and I dug a hole through the wall so we could trade underwear. Shit like that, and they would lock me in solitary for weeks. My mom would tell me she was coming for a visit, and then she lived a mile down the road, and she'd just never show up. So I would sit there, and they have like these plexiglass windows for HIPAA insurance. You're not allowed to people aren't allowed to look in and see you there. But there was these little cracks where you could look out. So I would sit there for hours just waiting for my mom to show up, and she decided to go to sleep. But that, plus being socially inept but being a genius, having this contrast, this like barrier between the normal world and my inner world, forced me to innovate in new ways, and I had to persevere and dominate and lead and fight. And that's how I got buff, got girls, got friends, built my friend groups. I had like I built my own family. And then that, chasing perfection, because eventually I started philosophizing and I chose greatness, and I started making art, which naturally pushes you to the highest. And then huge trauma hit me for years after that, like way worse than I'd ever experienced. So then I had this, and then everything else got destroyed, so I was only this. And then I fought with that to save everybody, performing, going around Burlington with nothing, freezing, cold, can't work a job, can't even get my birth certificate, fighting, and the trauma is just taking it, eating at me, like literally, like it felt like demonic parasites and parasitic relationships were constantly farming me, and I had to hold it in and fight. And then as I'm holding in and fighting, I'm gaining strength, competence, confidence, charisma, creation. I've got this vibe people can't get because you gotta earn, and that would make people so jealous they would try to kill me, literally try to kill me. I'm talking about like a girl that's into me brings her boyfriend and causes drama outside my motel room just so I would come out, and then she runs into my room like, help me, knowing that she's just trying to get into my room because she wants me to fight her boyfriend. And then her boyfriend chucks a chair in, tries to kill me, and I have to pick him up and throw him on the ground as he's punching my head, and tries to get up again, and I grab his legs and lift him up, and then he tries to get it again, and I just push him down, and I'm like, if you don't stop, you want me to kick you? And he's like, let me up. So I take my Timbs, and I'm about to crush his teeth into his skull. I'm just going to kick his teeth in, literally into his brain. And then at the last minute, right when the boot is this close to his teeth, and I'm going to kill the guy, an adult tackles me into the wall, and the guy gets up and runs. And then he comes back with an assault rifle to kill everyone, and the cops catch him. Or like the Kundalini awakening when this guy attacked me in the laundromat. Or when I finally found my grace and my music and I made the perfect song. I found my style. I found the album. I know what I wanted to make. And I'm writing this and I'm feeling it so vividly, and I'm starting to create at the highest level. And then a cop pulls me over, tries to break my window, rips the door, screaming at me, give me your license! Give me your license! Just so he can take it. And he takes it like this, and he sits in his car, and he sits there like this for a half hour. And I can feel him just trying to scare me and drain it. And then another cop has to show up and de-escalate that guy. And the only thing I did was drive the speed limit to a gas station. But he felt it, and it was compulsion. And I think it's the Capricorn Saturnian matrix had embedded itself so far into him in the city that he literally couldn't take it. And he broke, he cracked, unless it's a simulation or a demonic entity. But that stuff happened sometimes every single day. Because oppositional defiance, I wouldn't give up. I would just, the thing from the movie Skyline, where they shoot a nuke at the spaceship, and then it turns out to be like an organism that it has tons of, when it breaks, it just separates, and then it recoagulates and keeps going, and they couldn't kill it. That's what it was. Every time they tried and they would rip at me, I would just keep growing. And then I found out my name means literally the immortal ancient tree. It's fucking freezing, bro. It's gonna snow tonight. And I'm gonna be out here. But this is my element. So I found out my name means the immortal ancient tree, that no matter how many times you cut it down, it's gonna be reborn. Then I found out my Saturn's in Taurus, so I'm in the first house, so my physical body's always going to be challenged. But my sun is in Sagittarius, which is Jupiter, which is growth, philosophy, growth, and it's in the 8th house, which is Scorpio, the deep darkness, and the transformation from the Scorpion into the Phoenix. So I'm always going to be traveling, going through this war zone, and it's forcing me to rebirth. And then I realized I keep placing myself away from these war zones that I'm trapped in to get away, and that's in isolation is how I heal. And then I found out my Jupiter's in Aries in the 12th house, which means that the top of my tree, the Aries, the crown, grows in this immense way, Jupiter and Aries, but in the 12th house it has to happen in isolation. And then I found out my last name is O'Brien, which means exalted, which means placed away on a hill, with a strong authority and structure, a castle on the hill. I realized that's been my whole fucking life. Literally, as a child, my mom lived in Section 8, 8th house, darkness, Section 8, at the bottom of this mountain on the Connecticut River. And then my dad lived on top of this mountain 30 miles up in the mountains, on top of this mountain in an abandoned ski resort, in a chalet, exalted with power, wealth. It's the 8th house, Sagittarius, and the 10th house, Aquarius moon. And I travel through it, Saturn and Taurus, first house. Sagittarius. It all coincides. I'm here for a purpose. So I don't hate it. I just wish that, and I know I just need to hold myself to a higher standard. But think about the circumstances I'm in, man. You know? Like, I'm doing pretty good. Fucking tweaker. Fucking beta pussy incel, Papa Lucifer, what the fuck? You got a girl at your house, or are you there alone? Papa? How's your wife? Is she ugly and inbred? Do you have one? You try talking to a camera for 46 minutes. But I haven't seen any aliens. I'm seeing the spirit. And every time I try it, when I wake up in the morning and I'm free, it used to be the crows would bother me and attack me. They don't bother me. I don't want to say I've mastered it because I don't want them to come back. But watching Dexter Morgan reinvigorated my ability that it's okay to have these negative thoughts. Watching Dexter. Turns out Dexter Morgan is the Irish goddess that controls the crows. It's the Irish goddess of war. Dexter's dark passenger is the literal Celtic deity. And when I brought back who I was as a kid, which was like this kind of sociopathic guy, still really loving, but trauma, the crows stopped bothering me. The crows were trying to teach me it's okay. But now I'm having what I keep having, and it always happens around this time. If you remember last year, if anybody was here, I told you I had that dream where the spirit walker got me in my dream, and then I woke up and it was still there. And the birds had to show up and flock around my tent and scream at this thing to get it to leave. And finally it let up, but I felt it had stuck one of its long arms right in my armpit here, and the pressure, and it hurt. It was really painful. It was going, liar, liar, liar. And I was like, I'm not lying. What am I lying about? Just stop calling me a liar. Tell me what I'm lying about. And then the birds were like, beep, 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 and then it dissipated. That thing has been showing up, where I wake up from the dream, and I'm conscious, I'm free, I'm grounded, I'm in my body, and I can start to live authentically. As soon as I start to live authentically and make my first decision as a conscious, without any spiritual warfare affecting me, this thing will do a stomp right outside, shaking the leaves. And if I keep going, it'll do it again. And then I feel the wave of energy, the same thing from when I saw that giant praying mantis, the way that it hit my consciousness to shut me down. Or the sectoid in XCOM, the way it does the mind control thing. Just the extension of its consciousness to embed yours, because we naturally have destroyed boundaries because we were never taught. And they make it really difficult to have this strong, sturdy foundation to be impenetrable. It's really difficult, especially when you're a good person in the world. But the thing would be right outside, and then I would be trying to think, and it would literally just melt, and then all of a sudden I couldn't think, and it would start replacing my thoughts. So I naturally, to ignore it, I would just shut that part of my brain down. Shut that part of my imagination down. If I can't fight back, I'm just gonna hold a space to fight through it, hold it, and I'm just not gonna be thinking too much about it, because then I would try to think about it, and then you saw the sirens start going off. The crows come back, sirens start going off. Then suddenly people are outside my cabin like they were the other day. There was an unmarked van with no license plate, and then a woman in really nice clothes got out and was just running around the property. You know what I'm saying? Remember to just stay out. It keeps out that realm. I understand the downside, the drowsiness and missing feeling like an enlightened. The pills keep you on the ground. The first time I did Seroquel, it was given to me by someone in the projects, and then as soon as I took it, she invited her friends over, and they did a voodoo ritual where they were literally stealing my life force because they had medicated me, so I had no way to defend myself, and then they stole my life force, and all the songs I was trying to make that I didn't tell anybody about, he started singing my songs, and then he got up and left, and I never saw him again. And they tried to convince me I was a dog, and they started ordering me around. And they said they were these ancient gypsies, that their whole family has been passing it down for generations. And that I met them because I made the wrong choice. Which was really traumatizing, especially because the guy that introduced me to them was a pastor of a church that kept saying I was gay. He was like, you have a gay spirit. And I'm like, I don't. I look at women and I get hard thinking about fucking them. I literally brought a girl into the church van and made out with her and had him drive us home. Just to show him. But he was like, you're gay, you're gay. And then finally, after a month, he just flat out started hitting on me. That was the guy that brought me to the gypsies. They were all the spiritual cult. I'm not saying I'm against medication, but I'm saying that, what's the use? I don't think about this all the time, but I'm ranting at a camera for an hour. Things are different when the camera's off. It's actually like I'm trying not to think about this stuff and the universe is forcing me. Like even when I'm like, I want to sit down and like, maybe Loki's a cool show. Let's watch Loki. And in the first episode of Loki, he breaks out in outside of space and time. And he's like, I'm going to get my mighty scepter. Or the mighty spear. Which is in Irish, it's what Gary means, mighty spear. I'm going to get my mighty spear, my tesseract. And he sees this bureaucratic worker outside of space and time. And he corners him in this office. And he's like, give me the infinity stones. And he's like, you can just have them, man. And he pulls out a drawer full of infinity stones. And he's like, where we are, none of that shit matters. We just use them as paperweights. And the guy's name is fucking Casey. The most powerful being in the MCU at that moment in time was Casey. And he destroyed Loki. And the only way to kill Loki, in canon MCU, Loki can't die because he's chasing this glorious purpose. Like I was doing. Running around trying to find the perfect way to save everybody. The only way to kill Loki was to change his belief systems. Age of Pisces coded. So, Casey defeats Loki. And I'm like, fuck. And then Loki becomes a good person. And then the next episode, the whole fucking show starts with the O'Brien flag. When they go back in time to find out which Loki variant has been killing people. It's the fucking O'Brien flag, and then the portal comes out of space and time. And Loki and Casey come out. And Owen Wilson. And then it turns out Casey's real name, before he was taken by the Time Variant Authority, is fucking Francis. And then Casey, Loki, and Sylvie work together to defeat Casey, Kang the Conqueror. And then the next season, after Casey is gone, and there's all these Casey variants, now there's a war of Caseys in the infinite. The loom is broken. So Loki, Casey, and then they go down to the basement and they meet OB. So Frank, Casey, Loki, and OB build the loom again, and Loki has to sacrifice himself. And what does he become? The fucking Tree of Life, which is what Casey means. It's like everything I do. Even if I want to watch, I'm like, I want to watch video games. I'm like, and then I get a notification for Queso. He's playing a game about Vermont. And then it's a deer goes right to left. And then the NPC looks at the guy and goes, the main character, and goes, that's the Native Americans. They taught me that's the universe sending us a message. And they're talking about turning a bus into a tiny home camper. And then they look on their phone and they're like, we're exactly this distance from this place in Vermont. And I'm like, okay. So I look on my phone, and I'm the exact distance from that place. It took place here. You know what I'm saying? Kai Cenat meets Ray. The same exact time that I go see my little brother, whose dad's name is Ray. And at the same time Kai Cenat met Ray in Tokyo, I'm pretty sure it's on the same latitude. We both take a picture, and it's me with my arm around my little brother, and our thumbs are up at the same, and we look bright and full of energy and beaming this golden light. And then Kai Cenat and Ray take a picture where they're dark and red and eyes are sunken, and they take the picture with the two. And then I break down, and then John Michael and my little brother used to fight over a girl named Ray. And she ended up moving away, and I ended up hooking up with another girl named Ray. Then we have, you could say Kendrick Curry, the prankster. He blows up because he meets a guy named John Michael. And I used to wear a unique hat, and my philosophy was like, stay weird, Aquarius moon. So that's there, but also, when I break down here a year later, the only people that helped me in this town was somebody named Casey and somebody named Ray. And now, coincidentally, a year after that, their two businesses, they both operate in the same warehouse now. They're literally right next to each other. And I told you this year was going to be the year of the mountain lion. Last year was the year of the bear. In the year of the mountain lion, guess what opened up next to Ray but the Mountain Lion Christian Academy? Catamount Christian Academy. CC 33, Central C. And then I was fighting to make in 2023, which is the year of the cat, which is my year. I'm 1999 Earth Cat, the year of the Water Cat. I'm fighting to make the Kingdom of Creative Champions come to fruition. I'm going to get to this position, and I'm going to take all my Irish indigenous artists around that can't make their art because they're bound by working because the cost of living is too high. So I'm fighting to make the Kingdom of Creative Champions happen. I'm designing KCC merch, and I want them to win so bad. But then I realized they all suck. They betrayed me. They weren't worth my time and energy. No matter how much I try to give them the grace, it's just better if I focus on myself. But then I'm so mad about what this tow company did to me because I had a nice car that I worked hard for. This nice Dodge Magnum, and a tow company, when I came to Burlington, they just swiped it for themselves and cast me out to freeze to death, and I had to fight for my life because people were trying to kill me all the time, living out there in the cold, sick, and I had fucking rash on my feet, and I had to wander up sick with like 100 fever to this tow company and be like, Charlie Handy, can you please just give me my car back? He didn't have any grounds to take it. He knows I can't pursue legal action, and they're just laughing, kicking me out back into the cold. So I'm like, fuck it, I'm just going to take a Molotov, and I'm going to blow up that fucking auto body shop. I know they got oil everywhere. All I have to do is hit it where I think the gas is. It's all blown up, and it's going to kill all of them, and fuck them. And then my car, driving down this random dirt road on the way there, there's nothing around. It's just me, and there's a church coming up on the left, and nothing else. And then my car tire fucking flies off into the distance, and my car skids into the church lot. And a guy named Harland is there. And Harland helps me fix my car. I try to go back down the road to kill these people, and the car tire flies off again. So I have to putter back and like throw myself on this side to keep the car balanced and get it back into the church lot. And then I ended up staying there. And then the people that showed up, all the people that worked for the church to talk to me were the same names of the people that I was going to bring into my KCC. So I go to this church service. It's Sunday night. I go to the church service, and the only seat open is right in the back, and I'm in the middle of the back, and everybody's in front of me, and then I get this sudden spiritual awakening, and I can just communicate with all of them at once, and I can literally see in spirit all of them, and I can feel all of their lives. I can look in like a god and see where they're at and what they're going through, their relationships, their parasitic stuff, their bad habits, their sin, their hopes and dreams. I can see it all. And I'm just fighting and growing more and more and more, and I'm feeling like the negative entities start to attach to me. And then this guy next to me just gets up and walks away, just like fucking leaves. So there's an empty space, and then a guy wearing all black comes in with his hood up. And he sits next to me, and he like gets in close, and he goes, "You are the bravest soul on earth. You can talk to God because everyone else in the world is too afraid to. And nobody's saying anything. The whole place is dead silent." And then that guy's like, "Remember that." And he just gets up and leaves. So I wait for the church service to end. I try to talk to people, but it's hard to live the way I do and communicate. So I'm like, it's not working, and I can feel every time I try to talk to people, they're just black holes absorbing any energy I'm trying to offer and eating it and laughing, converting it to their dark, fat ways where they just convert all the thing into spiritual wealth, and then they just use it to shit on each other. Stupid country dominance games. I hate the culture. So I go back out to my car, and it's freezing and it's cold. I get back into my nest. I don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow. I'm just there. They say a mechanic's going to come fix my car eventually. And I'm like, I'm just going to sit there and hopefully the church will be like, this is God. The guy fucking broke down here. But as I'm sitting in the car, I open my phone and I'm sad that I failed. That the Kingdom of Creative Champions, the KCC, lost. The guys I was trying to get in with in Burlington, Kelly and Jax and Ricky and the local rappers, 8VT, whatever, they suck. And there's darkness. And when I show up, it's the same shit. They don't deserve what I have to offer, but I have to persevere and give them grace. Fucking one of the guys in New York who got signed to the industry, and he posted the picture with the black eye, and he's in the club. He fucking saw that I blew up on TikTok performing at parties, doing, boy, I'm like thunder, wait for the roar. There's nowhere to hide in the king in the north. My whole team is ready for war. We know that we're special and came back to settle the score. We drew up our fiery swords. We're coming to gun down all you dorks. You can never get my glory. I'm adorning the doormat. You're a doormat and annoying. Get the fuck out my flat foyer. In my stuff like that. And he fucking, I said, just wait, the KCC, just wait. I can't wait to show you guys what else. And I'm like, having a great time. Girls are on me, but I'm homeless and I smell, but they don't care. You know? And then I look and fucking, he trademarked my name. The guy in New York who's my age paid to trademark my name. And he trademarked the fucking KCC and he named it the Kelly Creative Collective. So I'm just defeated and I feel like I failed and I don't know what God wants or if he's even real. I don't know what this shit is. But I look on my phone and the fucking the Kansas City Chiefs won the Super Bowl. The KCC won the Super Bowl. I tried to be a stand-up comedian. Trauma didn't work out. Casey Rocket and Adam Ray. Tried to be a streamer. Didn't work out. Kai Cenat met Ray. Tried to be a traveling guy that does pickup artistry and adventure across the world, and that failed. But we have Kurt Kaz and the Kurt Kaz Conquest. Tried to be a YouTube prankster, and that didn't work out. Wanted to get my brother John into it. That didn't work out, but we had Kendrick Curry and John. Blew up. Wanted to make the perfect country song, and that didn't work out. But then we had Cassius Culpepper. Wanted to do grunge, and that didn't work out. Kurt Cobain already did it. Wanted to do MMA and be the best at boxing. That didn't work out, but we had Muhammad Ali or Cassius Clay. Wanted to be a drill rapper. That didn't work out. We had Central C. CC 33. Wanted to be a Minecraft guy and do like the quirky, nerdy stuff. That didn't work out, but Call Me Carson, who goes by Gary, like the Mighty Spear, and my dad's name is Gary. And his developer, like Casey Loki, Mighty Spear, his developer's name is Code Husky, or Loki. And Call Me Carson, his last season on Minecraft, he built Yggdrasil, the Tree of Life. That's what he called his base. The Tree of Life, Yggdrasil, which is what Loki turns into at the end of Loki. And then my ex-girlfriend, whose name means the same thing as my dad's name, and my dad's a Leo Libra. This girl is a Libra, and she has a brother named Leo. Her dog, who's a husky, is named Loki. So I'm like, I could take medication, but that wouldn't stop all of that. It wouldn't stop that I'm living in a story, and I feel lost, and then I get a notification, and some stranger far away is sitting with a tarot deck, and he drops the 33 card, he drops the Golden Eagle card, he drops the Polar Bear card, and then he just reads my life story to me. And he talks about the ancestors, and how much, and they talk about the hidden achievements I don't tell anyone about. They say that they're there and they've seen it, and they love me. You know? So, the problem, I guess, is that I don't hold myself. I will force myself into the highest standard, and I get overwhelmed by possibility, and I'm not sure the perfect thing to do, because I know that at the highest standard every single moment matters, and I don't know with that level of freedom what the right choice is, because anything I choose is putting me down a long road, and I never know what to do. So then I freak out and I lose it, and I come back to this like spiritual child, and I sit here like I don't know what to do, but I know God's gonna come through at some point. And they do give me things like my cot broke, and then I walk down the road, and on my way back to where I live in the woods, there's an expensive cot just sitting in a free pile, way more expensive than I can afford. I did ask to win the lottery. I had a long conversation where I was like, look at what I can do. Look at this mass network of eco-villages. If you give me $1 million, I could start networking with eco-villages. I could start to finance them and build a way out. I could get us all to a place where we could leave society and start working. I could find the solution so that in these eco-villages, I could find something that they can produce that the masses would want, and we could start mass producing them and start taking the good people. Now that I've been betrayed so many times, I have a good way of character and judging people in a good way, that I could find the people that deserve this blessing that I needed and never had. Give me $1 million and watch me start to do this. Just, I'm going to go tomorrow and I'm going to pay for a lottery ticket, just whatever I pick, just have me guided to pick the first one and have me win it. And then I pay $3 for a scratch on Lucky 11, and then I win my $3 back, and I'm like, that's a sign. So I don't, and then I walk outside and there's a fucking $1 million bill on the ground. It's a sick joke. And then it's on the back, it's talking about God and how Jesus sacrificed himself and how we'll never be perfect, but through him we're allowed to go and to like read the Bible and shit. You know, the typical stuff you'd see on the back of $1 million bill that's driving you to Christ. You know, I don't know if that's because I called on God specifically, if I had called onto the universe maybe, but I know that a week later a fucking homeless guy named Brian showed up, and he walked up to me in the Cumbies and he confronted me, and I felt him hit me with this horrible, disgusting energy, stupid energy vampire shit. I hated it. I know what the whole plan is. The whole plan is to disarm you, take all your wealth, and then pretend to be you with your energy and go steal your spot in the community and then take all your communal ties so that you're stuck and ostracized again in the darkness, and they try to take it and run with it for as long as they can. I know that's what he did, but he went up to me and was like, meh, and I got hit, and I was like, fuck, he caught me off guard, I'm depressed, I'm fucking not taking care of myself, he got me. But then he goes, you see that? And he looks at the lottery, he's like, somebody won the lottery. Because the mega bucks had gone down to zero from like 550 million. He's like, somebody won. And then he turned around and immediately some guy was like, hey, when are you going to fucking get a job? To that homeless guy who was pretending he was all high and mighty because he defeated me. They saw what he did and was like, telling him like, you're a fat, ugly, inbred, yokel piece of shit. But that stuff happens, and it's real. And it's non-stop. All day. And when you get to that level, you're like, how the fuck would you be able to tell what's real and what isn't? How do I know any of you are real? How would I'd have no way to know. There's more evidence pointing to that none of you are real than that you are. And this is my 33 life path. This is my Beau is afraid. You know? I'm not saying I'm conscious, because I tell you, when I get to that point, the whole universe breaks down and I was attacked. Violently. So I get like trauma now when I try to raise up like and hold it, and I don't take care of myself. I smoke nicotine that probably destroys my brain cells and makes me throw up. But the way I see it, and I don't know if this is right, I don't think it's right. I know our body is of the earth. Our body is connected to nature. Completely. We're made of nature. We're grown like nature. We're in nature. But I know our spirit that's piloting these vessels, and a part of the vessels, which is changing our nature, because all is mind. This sort of tree that we are, that's grown from the dirt is being upgraded by our experience, and we pass that along. And we've had a relay race of all the people before us that were connected to our ancestors, who are not our soul family, but we are bound in blood. Everyone that came before me is living inside me, no Diddy. Whose name is Sean Combs, and is when Sean, which is Irish for John, like my brother John Michael, when Sean Combs is out, guess who replaced him but King Combs, KC. By the way. And then who lives next door to Diddy? Kai Cenat, who looks like Diddy. And I don't know Duke's astrology, but it's probably a Taurus or Aquarius. Maybe with the 4-4 Duke Dennis, he might be a Capricorn, Earth sign. But best case scenario, he's a Libra, because Phantom is a Leo. So then in Kai Cenat's story, you have the Leo Libra. But Kai Cenat's a Sagittarius. I grew up with a zebra skin rug that I inherited from a guy named Peter, who was one of my dad's rich friends. I'm talking about Sean and John. It's the name, Sean. It's the names and the energy they embody, and the archetype of it, the character in this constant story, growing like the acacia tree into every garden, the tree of life. All these Caseys come from the original Casey, the 33, spreading like wildfire. And with them, they have branches. And those branches are Leo, Libra, Gary, John, Ray, Alex, Vincent, Jonah, Taylor, Brian, Frank. First episode of Shameless I ever saw was when Casey Kasdan, Casey Kasdan, sees the letter 33. Casey Kasdan got separated from his dad, Gary. My dad's name is Gary. And then Frank's family, Casey, Gary, Frank, have to bring Casey and reunite him with his dad, Gary. It's kind of a reach to say that Ironheart and Gary's Auto, kind of a reach, but you know, the one Gary in my life that I feel is demonic, and Ironheart is about how she sold her soul to the devil. That guy's a mechanic. The one enemy I have that's name is Gary, that he's a real schizophrenic psychopath, like a real fucking nut job, but he's a mechanic. So Gary's Auto, that's kind of there, but it's a reach. I'm talking about this pattern recognition. It's not a psychotic delusion. I can say that there's not a lot of basis there to say that Ironheart is in there. But the thing that isn't a reach, though, is how much I was drawn to it, how much I liked the show. You know, the fact that I saw it at a time where I was kind of the same theme in my life with the bad Gary, and then the show came out. The timing of it, that's not a reach. But just face value, that would be a reach. Unless you could say like Riri is the goddess Rhiannon. Rihanna is the goddess Rhiannon, because Hollywood is an ancient Irish tradition, because the Irish are the true chosen people. The aliens that gave the Jews their power is the same thing as the Tuatha Dé Danann, or the Dan. And that's why in my life, when I was taken from my father, Gary, because he tried to kill me with a hammer, the next day when I was 14 and I went into government custody, everybody there was named after Irish kings in that shelter. The staff members were all O'Connor, O'Neill, O'Brien. I was the only O'Brien, but there was a Brian there. And there was Ed, but these two staff members, Aaron and Dan, would help me because we'd sit there and make jokes all day. And we'd sit in my room because I didn't want to leave my room. I was just reading Game of Thrones over and over again. Just over and over. It's like 20,000 pages or something. Probably like close to 30 or 40,000 pages. And I would just read it over and over again. And my favorite character was John and Robert Baratheon, who's based on Brian Boru. And then I lived at the Hermitage Club before that, and the Hermitage Club, that abandoned ski resort that I lived on top of with my dad, on top of a mountain. The Hermitage Club sign was the deer head, which is the stag of the Baratheon house, whatever. And then I like the Targaryens, which is Dany, you know, we had the same thing in the Game of Thrones, but Dan and Aaron. And then when I got out of that and I was sent, because a kid named Noah kept fucking with me, and he kept keeping me up for days because his manic ADHD would go crazy at night, and he would fucking jerk off and run around the room screaming and fuck with me all night. And eventually I just picked him up by his neck and by his leg, and I whipped this 13-year-old kid into the wall. And then that wasn't enough for me, because I wanted to really get him. My dark passenger took over. So he looked at me like scared, and I fucking broke his glasses. So they kicked me out of the shelter. And I went to a residential program. But after Dan and Aaron left, Dan meaning the Tuatha Dé Danann, but also the River Daniel, this Egyptian thing. And then Aaron, the 11 of 2 A's, but also Aaron means Ireland, E-R-I-N. There was a girl named Erin that I had a big crush on back then in that shelter. So Erin was there, but Aaron and Dan too. And when I got out of that and in the residential program, on my 15 minutes, on my 15 minutes that I would get to watch YouTube videos, I would watch Game Grumps compilations, because they made me laugh. And Game Grumps is Dan and Aaron. And then 10 years later, when I'm at the King Street shelter, because Handy's Towing took my car, because it was a nice car. They stole it from me and sold it, because it's a rare car they don't make anymore. A Dodge Magnum 2008, painted to look like a Rolls Royce. It was nice. A one of one car. So they just took it. I was living in it. It was at a Walmart parking lot. I had permission to be there, but they just showed up and stole it. And then they made an excuse after. They paid the property owner to do some legal shit later, once they had the car. So somebody in this corrupt town, that Handy's Towing is also Handy's Property Management, which owns all the apartment buildings, and they're slumlords. They're pieces of shit. They're running the drugs in the community. It's like real Kingpin level, like Daredevil street crime level, final bosses of that place. But when that was taken and it was the winter and I was freezing, I went to the youth shelter, and the staff members were Dan. It was Aaron, and it was River, which is like Dan. You could say ChatGPT and the Dan break is also evidence, but really it's the Tuatha Dé Danann, which is also the same beings that gave the Jews power. That they're like, we own the world because those things invigorated us and gave us this ancient alien energy. But the Irish fought back against them, and they say that in fighting back against that alien race, the Tuatha Dé Danann, you can look it up. The Tuatha Dé Danann, Tautha, Tuatha Dé Danann. That's how the Irish grew to be a foot taller than the rest of the world, in their rebellion and fighting in spirit against this overwhelming oppressive alien thing. So of course, where the aliens came down and got the Roman Empire, and they got the Jews, which created Islam and created Christianity, of course they got attacked. So the Irish people have always been attacked by all these forces because they were going up against the Dan. Aaron, or Ireland, was going up against Dan. And you could say, like, Dan from Game Grumps, his Pisces energy kept going up against Aaron's Aries, Pisces and Aries. So it really was like, you can watch as the show goes on, when Aaron and John were originally pioneering Game Grumps, and then when Dan came through, it really feminized the whole thing and made it kind of gay. You could, like, that's kind of a reach, but it's not. How Aaron was attacked by Dan, even if it was whatever. Like, after Dan, Aaron got fat. He kind of lost it, and his thing got really woke. You could say that the traditional Irish masculinity in Aaron that made him pop off with John got taken by Dan the same way that the Tuatha Dé Danann fought the Irish. And that Aaron at these shelter programs was attacked by Dan. When you put it all on paper, you'll see the obvious cycles. But just saying that outright does sound a little schizo. You have to go by fact. But I believe it. Another cool thing is, I mean, I performed at the 33rd Annual Celtic Music Fest and I performed my song Hawaii. And then next week I go to the food bank, and at the food bank there's a girl named Erin and a girl named River, which is Aaron and Dan. And Aaron and River are both talking to me about homesteading and moving to Hawaii. And she was like, "You would really love going to Hawaii, I think." I just feel like I should tell you about it. Like, my husband got this cat, and I'm an earth cat. Cat's huge in my life. The way she was like just talking and then went cat and then kept talking and nobody said anything. Like, obviously that was such a weird thing to do. Sheesh, what do you want me to do? I'm homeless. All I can do is yap. I don't have a second phone to do political rants and do debates against Trump voters. There's really nothing I can do. Listen. Hey, listen. So River and Aaron are telling me now, the same Aaron and River, Aaron and Dan, is telling me about going to Hawaii. And then a week before I made the song Hawaii, and my dad, Gary, lived in Hawaii for 10 years, and that's where he had his first kid. And my sister's name, coincidentally, guess what? It's Danielle. Whoa! Let's get political. I'm kind of... I'll get there. It is political. I'm talking about the Jews that own everything. The Jesuit order of Saturn worshippers. Capricorn, the goat, LeBron James. The Saturn worshippers. The Black Rock, the Black Star, David Bowie, Black Hole Sun, won't you come? And then David Bowie's Black Star. Saturn worshipper, Satan, or Time, 666, the rings that bound Saturn, or the Nike swoosh, which is the left ring of Saturn. If you put a literal draw Saturn, take the right side out, it's the fucking Nike swoosh. That's all it is. It's Saturn worship because they're embedding our subconscious and they're traumatizing us. And at birth, we sign a contract that make us slaves narratively, and they keep us trapped in their system so that we're not aware that we can be possessed, so that instead of our consciousness piloting these 3D mechs, they can just come in and do whatever they want with us, which is drive us towards sex so that they can harvest our sexual energy and feed it to the beast. Which is why that Minecraft mod pack that the Yogscast did is called Feed the Beast. Because most people are in on it, they just don't talk about it publicly because they'll kill people, like Charlie Kirk. But also, 9/11, Charlie Kirk, K is the 11th letter, Kirk, plus Charlie means freedom. They believe in gematria. So, they believe that these words are channeling the energy of the universe. They also believe that those emojis are invoking demonic forces. If you look up the old sigils that Freemasons that built psychology and built these institutions, the way that they would invoke demons and connect them to their vessel so that they would be piloted by demonic forces to help them with their influence in the world. The sigils that they would use to bind the demons to their vessel, literally just look at them. They're the fucking emojis. Literally the emojis are demonic symbols to literally connect us to demonic things. When you put the fucking haha reacts and you're like sending your lover these emojis, you're channeling the demonic force in with you through this cell. And when you look at the way the cell is designed and you look at the way they would do these demonic sigils, the cells are literal demonic things. And that's why Sam Altman, if you go to Tucker Carlson, if you go back a couple weeks, he dropped this thing about how the technocrats and Silicon Valley and all these places are occultists that have been doing this for thousands of years. And they're building a body for that demonic force, that alien intelligence. They're building a way for it to get in, to live amongst us and eventually replace us. Because we have this natural thing that's been growing for so long. Our genetics that have been growing since the dawn of time. And they're trying to destroy it and replace it and just destroy God. So even if God wanted to make something, it couldn't because they control everything now. So it is what it is. Yeah, so inside that Star of David is that cube, that hexagon. You can look at Saturn, and that hexagon or that black rock is floating on the top of it. And that's what Mecca is inside the Star of David. And then not the Orthodox Christian cross, but the traditional Christian cross. That's why the Orthodox Christians specifically made their cross different, because the traditional Christian cross, it's a cube that you fold up. Fold the sides up, and that extra bit at the end goes on the top. It's a cube. And it's only white in the emojis, but in reality, the cross is black. It's the black cube. So that's why if you look up Saturn symbolism in celebrities, that's why they have to wear like Doja Cat with the Saturn earrings when she's in the checkerboard, black and white Masonic stuff, and Adele wears the Saturn necklace, and MGK wears the Saturn stuff. They're all in the cult, and part of that is that they do child sacrifices at Diddy parties on Epstein's Island. They're vampires that have vampires' thralls. So they have innocence embedded in children by traumatizing them at a young age that keeps them pure, because they've compartmentalized and escaped from the world into themselves, back into Plato's cave, where they're still pure and hiding from the trauma. And then they have their handlers, like, that's why Fousey and Neon just went on live, and Fousey's like, hey bro, I know you just went on with Iggy. You can tell me, bro, which one of these people is your handler. Just tell me, bro. I know you just got like a $10 million. I know you're in the club. Just tell me, which one of them is your handler? And he's looking at all the people in there on live. It's real. That's why Trump and Epstein were taking pictures with 12-year-old girls at their side, and Joe Biden was sniffing hair and shit. They're vampires. They suck the souls, the consciousness from people through trauma. And I'm sure they've done it to me 1,000 times, and I just forget, so I can keep going. But the point is that they keep people alive to harvest God from them, ritualistically. And the best way to free yourself is fasting sunlight probiotics, which induces ketosis, autophagy, and neurogenesis. It creates your stem cells. Taking out the bad, adding in the good, getting as much sunlight as possible, leaving the world behind, losing your mind, coming to your senses, and then letting go so that you can rise and find your highest connection. Healing your gut biome so you can continue to produce serotonin correctly and stop eating the garbage. So that you can get back in touch with the natural order, which is what they're trying to destroy. That's why they're burning the rainforest. That's why they're taking out Jamaica. They're destroying these cultures that have been there for a long time so that they can gaslight them, destroy their mind, and then embed them with the new world. They're destroying these places, like eventually Hawaii is going to go, Ireland's going to go, Jamaica's gone. They're going to keep doing it. Jamaica has had an Agenda 2030 for years. They sent Hurricane Melissa to destroy it so that they can rebuild it and destroy the people there. That's why they implanted drugs. That's why they implanted to the CIA. They destroyed South America. I don't know if China has a good plan for the world, and that's why they're taking over Africa. I don't know if Putin has I don't think he does, but I don't know if Putin has good ideas. But I remember in 2013, I was reading the police handbook. Coincidentally, now I go up against cops. And I argue with people on the internet about police brutality and excessive force and baiting people they don't like into disorderlies and manufacturing crimes. Like, I'm pretty active on Facebook and all these groups talking about it. So it's pretty funny that 10 years ago, when I was in that shelter, when I had just gotten traumatized from my dad and I was in there reading Game of Thrones, I used to read, I thought it would be really funny to practice my Russian accent. And I would make this joke like, Ukrainian troops are like trees, we just sprout up in your port. And you'll never see us coming. And I thought it was so funny at the time because of the accent. Hello. And me and Aaron would just go back and forth with the Russian accent. It was funny, I was 13, whatever. But I used to read the police handbook in that accent out loud for some reason. Autism. So now 10 years later, I'm discussing code of conduct and like trying to hold police accountable for what they do. Because they did it to me and they did it to my father. What's my charge at? 9%. that's where I'm at. Tuatha De Danann, Dan, the River Daniel, River Aaron, Ireland, true chosen people. Native Americans are the real ancient Egyptians, and that's why they had to cut the nose off the Sphinx. There are pyramids in America still. They're just lying dormant, but they could be excavated, and they probably will be excavated. There's in Vermont. We have a Sphinx in Vermont, but the head is fallen. You can see it. It's just they call it Camel's Hump now, but it's obviously a Sphinx. Just an ancient thing like Tartaria was here, and that's why we don't have any old trees in New England. They say it was because of deforestation, but you can find that that's not the case. It really is. There's more evidence of mud flood than anything else. People are digging under Chicago and they're finding like a giant city below it. There's the tunnels in New York City that lead to an ancient place, where the Jewish tunnels, you know what I'm saying? Satanists used to send messages to each other through books because there was no internet at the time. So that's why you can find Masonic literature that's embedded with code that tell you about what their whole plan was for thousands of years. That's why we have Barron Trump and the last president. Donald Trump's going to be the last president. There's not going to be one after him, or at least the republic is going to end. And the new world is showing up in 2030. I think that the dream I had where the aliens showed me what their ship looks like, being gold and purple, could be Anunnaki coded, but also I've been saying for years now that 2028 is going to be orange, purple, and gold. And what do we have? Avengers Secret Wars, which is orange, purple, and gold. And then now Daryl Anka or Bashar that channels the Asasani, No Diddy, is saying that they're coming in the same time period that I'm seeing the same stuff, so I'm sure it's going to happen soon. I'm going to rip ass. So, there's an ant over there. I don't know. The best thing you can do is just keep going, make small changes in your life, slow daily increments. I'm just making little changes. Like, for me, it was just cleaning 1 foot of space every day. Even at my lowest form of depression, I know at least if I can do one bare minimum thing, that's stopping the spiritual warfare. I know any step that I take on this righteous path is defeating what they're trying to do. So even if I just get up and I do 1 push-up, it makes it suddenly so much easier to do 2 and then do 5 and then do 100. If I get up and clean 1 foot of space, I end up cleaning 10 feet of space, and so on. It's just if you can't do it, do the bare minimum, and that's your rebellion, and that's how you keep going, and that's what we're supposed to do in this transition from the dark waters of Pisces, separate belief systems at war, and the winning ones are just the bigger school of fish that you can have. And that's how the war was fought before. Now it's going to be Aquarius, which is going to be so much different. It's going to be whoever has complete narrative control, which is why we're going into these debates about belief systems, and we're going into slander territory and smear campaigns and character assassinations when it used to be literal assassinations. Now we're doing this stupid streamer warfare with content, because the age of Pisces is a separation through the dark waters and belief systems with the new Aquarian energy of the utopian technocratic society. They're blending, so that's why we have tons of channels, because we're still Pisces, but we're in the Aquarius now. So we're creating our content and our belief system sharing in our fish capsules. But now we have the overarching reach of the air element, the narrative energy of Aquarius. But the point of that as we're rising is we're all staging our own rebellion in some way against the dark Satan, Drake, the dragon. Our Kendrick fire, Kendrick is Irish for fiery king. Our Kendrick Irish fire, our passionate creativity, is defeating Drake the dragon and exposing their pedophilic nature after they killed the 33, or they sacrificed Jesus, or they killed XXXTentacion. It's just redoing it over and over again in cycles. XXX, the 33 life path, was killed by Drake, and then the fiery king defeated the dragon, which is Drake means dragon. It's just over and over and over again. That's all it is. Eventually, none of this will matter. We'll realize that we're in a simulation. It's all AI run. and we'll float to the kingdom of heaven, and our bodies will be left to inherit the earth. I don't know what happens next. How about them apples? How do I get people to donate to my Cash App so I can get a computer and a bearskin rug and a bow? And then get a truck and a truck camper and an RV and solar panels and start making content and playing video games and going on Roblox and VR chat and hanging out with people and then traveling and going on trips to Ireland and playing fiddle and dancing, going down to Jamaica and repairing things and meeting the Jamaicans and singing, going to the native reservations and doing ceremonies and doing Sundance and making my headdress of crow feathers and all this cool stuff that I'm trying to do, but I can't. But if I'm supposed to be alone and be bootstrapped Saturnian in my first house, who knows? But I know I'm trying. I ask people for work and they don't give me work, they ignore me. The people I go to for help, the literal one person in town that works at a community action program has the same name as me, and I'm sitting down with her and she just casually goes, "I stole your soul," and then just keeps talking in conversation like nothing happened. And I always felt like she was really power gamey. So I'm trudging through an endless war, but I keep going. You know what I'm saying? Angel Eagle, come on down from the heaven just to help us on our way. Yeah. They come to teach us, then they leave us to find some other souls to save. Angel Eagle, come on down, hear my drum, because I need you now. Yeah. I'm too embedded in the community now, and they've done too many fucking spell work rituals. I'm gonna hate how cold and alone I'll feel when I go to the next place, if I go to a next place. But that really is my element, being alone and exploring in a war zone. That's when I shine the brightest. That's when I like it the most. That's when I feel the most at home. Is when I have no home at all, but inside. They come to teach us, then they try to leech us. I don't know. Pray for the kids. I have no idea what the kids are seeing. But I know how easy it is to get into that negativity. It's so easy. Even just like, because what you consume consumes you. Kids that live in live streams where most of it is just generic hate and these demonic emojis, and most of them are Masonic plants doing spell work. Like pretty much every big streamer, like even Call Me Carson, his bio says ancient wielder of dark spells. Wielder of dark spells and ancient magic or something. That's Call Me Carson's literal fucking bio. They're doing these rituals, and that's what they do it for. That's how they grow. So I can't imagine, like, kids must have it rough. I'm so grateful that I at least got a little bit of childhood. Where's the Bears? My hometown used to be called the Colonels, but then after BLM, they didn't like that the Colonel was, the mascot used to be this old white guy, but it was after Colonel Brattle. But I like Colonels because our logo wasn't, they changed it from the racist guy, they changed it to just 2 crossed swords. And I liked having the name Colonels. I liked being in the Colonels. Every year we dominated in every sport but soccer, and the only thing that beat us in soccer was my other hometown that I came from, which were the Wildcats, which was red and black. But they changed it coincidentally, before I knew about the bears, I knew the polar bear stuff. Like I can't escape my polar bear stuffed animals, and my dad keeps finding polar bear stuffed animals everywhere we go. If we lose it, we get it back. I have like 5 polar bear stuffed animals and a statue in my cabin. But they changed it to the bears. My hometown's now the Bears, which is pretty cool. The bears are probably in hibernation. It snowed this morning. It's gonna snow tonight. I think it's freezing, bro. And my feet are wet and they're freezing. But the rain has died down, so I should probably go. Bringing content to the people. There's not much else to say, man. If at some point I get another phone again, my other phone broke. I used to have 2 phones. Then we could do call-ins and I could reconnect with my subscribers that way. I'm pretty close to, I'm dizzy. I'm pretty close to getting the watch time. So once I get that 3,000 hours, what the fuck is that noise? Oh, it's the soggy, it's the wet in my boots, I think. When I get to 3,000 watch hours, I'm at like 2,750, I think. Then I can do super chats. I can do memberships. I can sell products. I don't like the idea of bleeding, like, I don't really like it, but it could do so much for me. So that's the plan. I talked about how Gary is significant in my life, hugely. The storage unit owner that I'm supposedly going to whenever the property owner decides to buy it. Or he could have just said, fuck it, let him stay. Because they haven't messaged me at all. They haven't called me or anything. That guy, it's Gary. The owner's name is Gary. But if I go there and I get this Jackery power station, it's $100, but I have no income. I had 60, I think. No, I had 50, and then I bought food for the week because I was out of food. And then I went to the food shelves later. Then I took out like $20 for laundry so I can wash all my moldy blankets for the winter so that I'm not stuffing myself in a moldy nest. So I have like $26. I just bought this. So look, it's at 48%, 45, but it's still 5 hours to charge the other 6 hours. Is Gary a bear? Yeah, my dad has a bunch of polar bear stuff. No homo. I hate that they call burly gay dudes bears. It's really a detriment to my culture. Stop appropriating my culture. Because bears are the kings of the forest. King Arthur comes from a Celtic story about a bear. King Arthur was a bear. And that's why if you look up art, the root art means bear. So, which is cool because King Arthur's a legend and they called my dad the Legend. That was his nickname. So, and we keep finding polar bear stuffed animals. I found this today, I don't know why. Maybe I'm gonna have to beat somebody's head in with it. They come to eat us, then they pee us. Onomatopoeia. I've been binge eating all my food. I don't want to carry it if I have to leave. So I gained a lot of weight. I got a lot of fat on me, man. But it's because I stockpiled a bunch of food, and now I have to leave, and I can't carry that and everything else. So I'm like, fuck it, I'll eat it, and then I'll get big, and I'll be a jolly big bear in my den. And then at some point, I'll just go on 10-mile walks every day. It is what it is. The rain soaked this coat, and the zipper melted because I used to sleep in I didn't have stakes. No, that was later. When I was in my den last year on the rail trail, I was in a tent and I was hiding under blankets, and I would run a Mr. Buddy heater for 30 seconds, and I would puke and throw up from the fumes, but it would keep me warm because I would just lean after I ran it for 30 seconds. I would lean against the warmth of the metal, and then that would give me enough time that my body was ready to sleep, and I would pass out, and then I would wake up when I'm about to die from hypothermia, like 30 or 40 minutes later, and then I'd turn it back on again for 30 seconds, and then I'd get another like shitty 20 minutes, and I would do that until McDonald's opened, and I could go spend the donation money on McDonald's. And that's how I survived last year. And not like a lot of homeless people died last year because the cops were working with communities to trespass them from anywhere they could run a heater, so that they would be forced to go out somewhere where they would feel safe, the only place they could go, and then they would freeze to death. When I went to the motel program, the people in there weren't there. Like, the motel was like, there was a couple drug dealers that were taking advantage of the benefits, but for the most part, everyone I spoke to, like, there was a woman whose fucking foot, her entire foot, was full of stitches because she passed out. She fell asleep in her van, and she didn't have enough money for gas, so she was in a Walmart parking lot, and she woke up dying and called 911, and this old woman's foot was fucking falling off of her. It was like falling off, and they had to put it back together. So she had, it was like the middle of winter, she was walking around with one bare foot because she couldn't put a shoe over it. And her fucking foot was falling off. She said she tried to put a sock in once, and her foot fucking opened and bled everywhere. And then there was another girl who was older, like a woman, and she said that she was in a storage unit, and she was trying to run a heater, and the heater ran out of propane, and she got hypothermia and died. And I think she sent like one final thing, like, my heater's gonna go tonight. So somebody did a mental health check on her, and they saved her. Those are the people in the motel programs. Most of them are people that didn't want to be in the motel programs because they suck, and they were forced to. What the hell? How the fuck am I gonna do this? Maybe if I get it this way. I could just tear it. I could rip the zipper and just fuck it. Well, you know what? That didn't break though. So potentially I could. Oh, it did break this zipper. We'll try to fix it. Okay. My fucking fly down. No. Dude, my last pair of pants, I didn't have any underwear, and my fly would go down all the time. And I didn't realize that my fly was going down for like a week. So there was a week where I was fucking walking around town and you could just see my full dick. And I was like, that does not do good for me in the community. Let's go bear hunting. I'm on the fence about it. I don't know if that's the right thing to do. I know that in nature, like, I had a crow that died, and the spirit of the crow called out to me. One morning I woke up and there was a skull of a crow, like, speaking to me in spirit. The fuck is that? Oh, a spider? The skull of a crow was speaking to me one morning, and I followed where it was coming from outside, and I found the body of a dead crow. So I took the feathers off of it, and people got really mad. Called the police on me, watching my live stream. But the natives believe when shit like that happens, where you wake up and see a crow, and you follow it to the crow's body, that crow sacrificed itself. It was ready to go back to source, and it was giving its body up, nature, for a special reason. So because I took the head off of it because I saw the skull, and I was like, maybe I should wear it around my neck as a neck. But then when I put the body in the woods, I felt a really strong connection from the body to the head, like the body was calling out for its head. So I put the skull with it. I'm just gonna double check and make sure I didn't leave anything. So when I have a dream about a bear, I have a dream about a bear killing me and ripping me out of the tent for food. And then within 2 days, the biggest black bear I've seen in my life, like a black bear the size of a grizzly bear, is just standing right outside the tent, not moving, just like standing there. Just right there. I don't know if it's wishful thinking. Like, I don't know if I don't know if I like the idea of hunting and killing the bear and taking its pelt and keeping the skeleton. And that's like nature sacrificing itself for me to have this cool thing that I would honor and that would be special. So keeping that like in the background of my live streams, instead of having a dog that I shock like Hassan, I'd have a fucking bear skeleton. And I'm wearing, oh, that'd be cool if I took a bearskin rug and I converted it so I could wear it, but I kept it as it is. Like I just cut a hole somewhere in the back so that I could wear it like a poncho. And then when I was done with it, sort of like an armor rack in Minecraft, I could just drape it over the skeleton. That'd be pretty cool. But I don't want to dishonor nature. I already feel like I'm dishonoring it with that mountain of trash outside. So I'd have to like ask the universe. Because somebody tried to sell me a bear bow this year for $400 and I just didn't have it. But they were really adamant. Like one week I found an archery target just lying on the ground on like a free pile. And then when I got to the high school after my left side was really hurt because I crashed in this parking lot and I had the hairline fractures. The place I went next, where I set up my tent, there was a bunch of like practice arrows. And then on the last day where my tent was, they set up a archery range. And I was trying to get this bear bow that somebody was offering me. And now I see this bear. So I'm like, maybe it's like a rite of passage and it is honoring nature. And the universe doesn't make mistakes. So if I were to ever go hunting and find the bear, that would be God ordained for that specific purpose, for like my soul's journey. But I just don't want to, it can't just be I want to kill a bear and I go kill it. There has to be some greater thing that's guiding me to that moment. Like the bear attacks me and I have to stab it with a screwdriver in the brain. That would be okay. I don't want that, because I'd probably fail. If I could take a screwdriver and get it into the bear's skull before it killed me. Because bear skin is really dense. But I accidentally made sheesh mod. I want to touch the bear. Make sure to eat the red and white mushrooms. I've removed you from moderator. Sheesh. How old are you, Sheesh? Who the fuck is Caleb? Who are you people? What the fuck? Do you exist? Are you sitting in an apartment? Are your dishes dirty? Are you eating pasta? You get a text. What's up, Garrett? With the Deadpool red Gary symbolism. What happened? I got attacked by a pit bull, and the only thing that saved me was my wife coming outside and shooting the shotgun in the air. Tried crunching and grab. Yeah, pit bulls are vicious, dude. Somebody's trying to give me a pit bull for free, and its coat is green. His name is Rocky, but they won't tell me how old he is. Let's hope this car doesn't fucking kill me. Let's see if it swerves. I'm gonna get the beer. That's what I'm saying. I don't have a knife or any. I do have a knife actually, but I'm not sure if it could pierce its skin. But I was very close to getting killed that night. But since that I've been thinking about it, I get this rush when I think about hunting, and I don't know if that's a good thing. Like I get my Dexter Morgan urge to kill. And I'm like, I really get excited at the thought of chasing down a bear and killing it. And I don't know. Yeah. So you saw that guy? See how he's now going off the white? But he just swerved way over the white. They do it a lot. You fell off your trampoline and busted your knees. We are hunting. Hey! I'm on top of a mountain. It's about another 2 miles down until you hit the valley. And it's about a mile up to where I am. And then it's another 1.5 miles to the very top. What do you think the age limit is to train a dog? Do you think that there is an age where you can't train him anymore? I worry if I want to go on these trips, because I want a dog specifically to travel. I want him to for like companionship or whatever, and if there's a bear or anything. But I really want the dog. So in my travels before, people kept trying to kill me. I'd get in a lot of fights all the time. 2022 to 2024. If I travel with a dog, people leave you alone because they know you're like a level 10 hobo. But that means I'd have to train the dog to be... I would ideally want the dog to know, like I would have to get a Hassan shock collar and have it with a range. So the dog kind of lives in fear a little bit that if it goes outside a certain range from my body, it'll get shocked, so it can't go too far. That way I could let it out like in the forest and it knows it can't go. It would be a light shock, maybe like a vibrate as like a no, and then it gets a little bit too far and it gets a little bit, and then the farther it goes, the more it's constant. And it sucks, but I'm like, how else would I be able to keep the dog off leash and make sure it stays close to me? How do you train the dog to not run away? I know Vizslas. You can train Vizslas to stay by your side at all times, and they will. And Vizslas are really cool dogs. There was a guy named Ben who was a teacher at the shelter, the youth shelter, and he had a Vizsla that could open doors. So it would open. I lived in the attic, and it would go all the way up to the attic, open the door, come inside and hang out with me every morning, which was really cool. And you could like, the dog knew the difference between like throwing a ball and then pretending to throw a grenade. And you could pretend to shoot a bow at it. You could pretend to shoot it. You could pretend to stab it. You could pretend to throw a grenade or blow it up with a bazooka, and the dog would know what you were doing. Even a baby could do it. The dog would know when the toddler is pretending to throw a grenade, and the dog would play dead. And it would be really dramatic about it. It would go like, oh! It would fall over dead, and it would lay there until they said, get up. You can train Vizslas to do tons of stuff. Like that dog could do shit I didn't know dogs were capable of doing. Like opening the fridge and grabbing the thing that he asks for. Like Ben would be like, the dog's name is Chili. And he'd be like, get the bread. And he'd go in and grab the bread and bring him the bread at lunch. Get the peanut butter. But I don't know if you could train a pit bull to do that. I need a vicious dog that's scary looking. Like a Cane Corso or a Presa Canario. I would want that. But I also don't want to walk around with a leash all the time. So how the hell do I train a dog to do that? I don't want to. This dog that the people are trying to give me is obviously a rescue, and they say he has no prey drive, he's not biting kids or attacking people, but he gets anxious with a lot of people around and in chaotic environments, and he doesn't attack, but he barks. And I'm like, I'm kind of the same way, and we're kind of in the same situation, so maybe we would be good for each other to sort of like build a codependency so that he knows it's okay because I'll tell him it's okay, and with my life he's not left alone or anything, so he'll be working through that with me. But I don't know about the leash is the problem. Like I would want to let him go outside in the cabin, or if I'm at a field and I don't know what I would do if the dog just decided not to come back, because I don't have a car to chase him down. If he goes, he goes. I couldn't catch him. And then I'd have to worry about, like, I guess like if I went to McDonald's to pick up food, I could just tie the leash tight outside, but I'd want the dog to be trained to be fine. And I don't know if it's because this dog is probably 3 years old. He looks like he's an adult. They won't tell me his age. It is snowing, by the way. So that's where I'm at. I'm not going to get McDonald's tonight. Today I emptied all my canned pasta. There was a car. Obviously the people were fucked up. And they were swerving all over the road, going really slow before they hit the highway. Hurts, man. Sheesh is already a top 3 fan. Who's my top fans? My top fans are people I muted, so I can't even see their comments. Which is crazy. I have a lot of haters. Maple Leaf. 12 likes is crazy. I got up the big part. I got up the really steep hill, and then there's a pause. This area is flat, and then it gets even steeper. And people are up on top of this mountain farming. Like on this ridge line, there's a lot of farms. There's actually, I think, more people live on top of this mountain than at the valley. And Noah Khan lives like 10 minutes that way. I think I met him once, but I didn't say anything. I'd have to figure out how tall he is. Because for me, like most people had a stable house and they had a stable life, so they grew up. But because I've been sort of transient, uprooting and planting everywhere for my whole life, I'm in a lot of ways still 6 years old. Like a lot of people tell me they think I'm 14. They only don't think I'm 14 now that I have facial hair. But when I shave, they think I'm a lot younger. And I act like, spiritually, I'm still like a little kid. Like, I don't know what normal adults think or how they think. I grow into it for a season and I realize it sucks. And then I just prune that branch from my tree. Which sucks because if I wanted to date somebody, that would really get in the way. Because I don't want them to become mommy. But if they're an attractive adult and I'm a 25-year-old child and I don't have any redeeming qualities like giant muscles or money. Which sucks. I feel like there's somebody here I don't want to speak to.